Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well. I did not expect to be filming today. Do you know what just arrived in the post? The Pat McGrath holiday palette. I didn't actually think I would ever get my hands on this. First world problems, I absolutely know that, but I ordered this palette on launch day and it's taken over 3 weeks to get here, which is obscene amount of time. Initially, I wasn't interested in this palette. I have just been really disengaged with Pat McGrath. Her motherships kind of all blending into one. Been anything recently that I've been excited by. The holiday collection last year, I passed on, wasn't interested. This new one I had in my basket, and then I took it out of my basket and I was umming and ahhing. I kept leaving the site. There are actually 2 reasons why I invested in this palette. Number one, I have never tried a Pat McGrath blush before in my life. Like, never. I am an absolute nightmare for only using liquid blushes. If you've watched any of my other videos, you will know that. So I thought that what better way to dip back into powder blushes than trying some of Pat McGrath's. This is a long-standing shade, Nymphette, but this one, Coral Cosmos, that's new. I decided to pick this palette up was because of the shades. Now, I am a bit scared of colour. I'm a bit of a colour phobe, just a neutral / nude kind of girl. These shades were really wearable looking, and to have amazing transition shades like these two, I was actually very excited by it. Pat McGrath is known for her special shades, you know, the intergalactic sea from space lid shades, and there are none in this palette. That doesn't bother me. I'm not interested in those shades. I just wanted to have a Pat McGrath palette that I could actually use on a day-to-day basis and not just pull out on special occasions. So let's just stop jabbering and try this out. So the packaging. The packaging is absolutely glorious, as you would expect from a Pat McGrath palette. And the first look together, really lovely. As I mentioned in the intro, the reason that I bought this palette was because I actually thought that it was a really everyday wearable palette. And usually Pat McGrath, I don't think are everyday palettes. I mean, I have Pat McGrath motherships and I don't pull them out on an everyday basis. Really excited to use the greens. Although I am definitely somebody that plays it really safe when it comes to eyeshadow looks. Greens actually do really attract me. I think we'll start with one of the green eyeshadow looks. I think we'll go in with this one. I think it's a perfect transition. I'll just take my Big Cure Beauty 201, big fluffy. Oh, that looks pigmented. So we'll just go in. Wasn't planning on filming today, so I've had to put the lights on. This is really nice, by the way. It's blending really lovely, as I know Pat McGrath's mattes do. That looks really nice on the eye. It's a perfect transition. Take a bit of a smaller brush, which is the BK Beauty 202. I'm going to go in with this purple, like deep mauvey purple shade. So I'm just going to tap that onto the outer corner. So there are no special shades in this palette. If you're looking to dip into Pat's palettes for the first time and you're really hoping to experience one of those special shades that she has, this is probably not going to be the one for you. Could have done with a deeper shade actually in the pan. A denser brush actually. Real Techniques. It's just really, really dense and really good for packing on colour. Yeah, I mean, they're not like super duper pigmented. And a lot of the times what I find with Pat McGrath's colours, especially the mattes, you need to go real handy with them because they can go wrong very easily if you don't take it handy. Whereas I feel like this is fine. I would like to go in with one of the greens now. This one here Oh, that looks just glorious. I'm just tapping it off and it's lovely, isn't it? Oh, I love that. So I'm just bringing that in the centre of the eye. Not a lot of fallout, because that's the one thing about Pat's special shades and the ones that people go crazy for. Oh, the fallout is just next level. Go over that with my finger. Now, do you see how much more pigment you get when you use your finger? I mean, that is stunning. Yeah, I just go in with your finger. Next, in the inner corner, I'm going to use this one, which is Opalescent Moonstone. And I think this is quite duochrome. I'm just taking that on the inner corner. Whoa. Whoa. That looks so different. That's very impactful. It's like it's got like a blue tinge. I don't know whether I'm just imagining that. I actually think it would have been nice to have a deeper shade in this pan, but the deeper shade is that kind of mauvey purpley tone, but I'm just going to take that just along the lash line. So I think if you did want to smoke it out a bit, you are going to have to dip into a different palette, which is a little bit disappointing. So I'm going to actually take some of the first transition shade that I used and just pop that under the lash line. Okay, let me pop some mascara on and then we'll be back to try out the blushes. So I just popped a little bit of Opalescent Moonstone into the inner corner. I still don't know what the duochrome is on that. I think it looks, sometimes it looks blue, sometimes it looks green. It would make sense that it was green, but I'm not sure. I'm going to be trying Pat McGrath blush for the very first time in my life. So I am very excited to try Nymphette because I've heard so much about it and it actually looks beautiful. Now, if you know anything about me, if you've watched any of my videos, you will know that I am not a powder blush fan. I prefer liquid blush because I think it just sits a little bit nicer on my mature skin. And I sometimes feel like powder can emphasize, you know, my lines and wrinkles and just not sit as nicely as liquid does. So I'm using, this is a really old blush brush, but it's the Zoeva Sheer Cheek 127. Really nice and fluffy. I don't know how pigmented these are or not, but we'll tap it off and just pat it on. Oh, that's really pretty, isn't it? That is really nice. That is very, very nice. Feels weird putting powder blush on. I really like that. That is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful colour. Not any edges. I have a few spots knocking around, but it's gone over those quite well. Okay, I'm liking it. Okay, so there we are. That's the first look. I really like how it's turned out. It's kind of a really nice holiday colour story. I really like it. Let's move on to the second one. I'm not actually sure what I'm going to do with this look. I'm just going to kind of wing it. I'm going to take a clean, fluffy brush, which is the Refa 16, and start with the same transition as before. I'm just going to take that. And just for your information, I have primed my eyes with concealer. I always endeavour to prime with an actual eyeshadow primer, but I don't know whether it's just me, but with any Pat McGrath palette that I've had, they just don't like primers for some reason, so they work better when I use concealer. It's really, really strange. To now go in with this shade here. So going to use my MAC, I think it's too far yet. I'm just going to concentrate this just on the outer part of my eye. As I said in the last, doing the last look, these mattes are definitely not as pigmented as what I'm used to with the mattes. Usually I have to be so super careful and just apply little by little, but I feel like I can go in quite generously with this. And this is definitely going to be more of a wearable look than the previous one. I'm then going to take Real Techniques base shadow brush, and I'm going to go in with this lovely reddy brown shade here. I'm just going to pack it onto the corner. Kind of packing it in there into the socket, just on the outer part of my eye. This is, I thought that the purpley shade was the deepest, but actually I think this one is, now that I've used it. Just packing it in. I can blend at the end. Okay, I have to say, I'm really enjoying these mattes. I'm just going to take those deeper colours now underneath my eye. I am really torn on what to do here. This is a really nice bronze, but it is quite dark. I kind of just do want to have a bit of a wearable look. So I'm actually going to go in with my finger this time. So I'm going in with the one in the middle, Fawn Fantasia. So I'm just going to take it up on my finger. And wow. They always apply so much better with your finger. So I'm only taking that in the middle. Now on the inner corner, I do actually wish there were more inner corner shades, because there isn't really a little flat shader brush. This is just a Morphe brush. And I'm actually going to go back into the top shimmer. It looks really pinky in the pan, and then when I put it on my lids before, it did look blue, but I don't know whether it's just me or not. Just on the inner corner. Take a smudger brush and I'm going to go into the deepest shade at the bottom. And I'm actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to tap into this, and I'm going to tap into both. And I'm going to stamp it onto the waterline. I'm going to go and pop off and pop some mascara on, and then I will be back to try the new blush. All right, so we're ready now to try the last blush shade, which is this lovely coral here, which I wouldn't normally go for. It's called Coral Cosmos. So I am hoping it will go with this eye look. That's lovely, isn't it? I really like that. Do you know, it's not a shade that actually I would relate to a holiday collection. It definitely doesn't come off as corally as it does in the actual pan. Because I wouldn't be drawn to coral blushes ordinarily. But I think that's super lovely. And they are quite buildable. What do you think of that one? I think it's really nice. I actually like both of those blushes equally. Now for look number 2, definitely way more wearable than the first one, but is it as nice? I know. So here are the swatches. Opalescent Moonstone. It's quite hard to see on my skin tone there, I think. Really beautiful shade. Dawn Divinity. And then we have Eternal Bronze. Super deep bronze. Then we have Forever Nude. It's a very exciting matte to me. Love that. Then we have Fawn Fantasia. Serene Sienna. It's a lovely, usable matte. We have Celestial Celadon, or Celadon. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that. It's a beautiful green. We have Mythic Majesty. Finally, we have, wow, that's amazing. Look at that. Absolutely stunning. And then blush-wise, Nymphette and Coral Cosmos. Just on the end there. I'm excited because I wouldn't be drawn to a coral really. So there we are, all swatched. Let's go over our final thoughts on this palette. What do I like about this palette? You know that when you are buying a Pat McGrath palette that you are going to be getting quality. It is made in Italy. I would imagine that being made in Italy, it just is a little bit higher quality. I love some of the shades. I love the transition shades. I'm absolutely ecstatic that I've got a palette that I can use every day, come up with everyday wearable looks just to go to the shops. Whereas my other Pat McGrath palettes don't really allow me to do that. Well, they do, but it depends how glam you want to be. The green shade down here, that is really, really special. I have a feeling this will be on my eyes throughout the whole of Christmas. I've not tried this one yet. I'm a bit too scared. I maybe need to like push outside of my comfort zone and give that a whirl at some point. Blushes, I love both of them. I didn't think I would love the coral, but it's really, really subtle. It's really lovely. I feel really happy having dipped back into powder blushes again. As I've said before, I am just so obsessed with liquid blushes that I forget what else is out there, and I'm absolutely delighted now that I've got two powder blushes that I can use on a daily basis. I would have liked a little bit of shimmer in one of the blushes. So with it being a holiday collection, you know, you think more glitz and glam, but actually they're both quite matte. So is this worth 78 euros? I actually don't really know the answer to that. I mean, the mattes are really nice, but there's nothing absolutely special about the shades in this pan. But I would say the one thing that does make it worth the money is the fact that you get two blushes in there as well, and they are really, really good quality. I would say if you're just looking to treat yourself, if you're looking for something nice over the holidays, you know, maybe pop it on your Christmas list. It will be limited edition. It's a nice one to get. However, if you're looking for this usual Pat McGrath, super amazing, unique, glittery, beautiful shades, you're not going to find them in here. This is definitely for people who are looking for something a little bit more user-friendly, day-to-day, you know, nothing super special, but just really, really nice. So here we are at the end of another video. Thank you so much for joining me. I post videos like this on a weekly basis, so if that sounds like something that you might be interested in, then please do consider subscribing to the channel, because I would love to have you here. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video. But until then, take care and bye for now.